I'm Andrew G, and this is Showtime. My next guest has over 40 years of theatre experience, and most of that as a director. She has worked in many of Melbourne's iconic theatres, including MC Showroom, La Mama and Chapel off Chapel. She's worked on projects as part of Melbourne International Comedy Festival and with a bunch of community theatre companies, including Peridot, Malvern and Mordialloc. But today she's joining me to talk about her latest work, directing Hydra with Brighton Theatre Company. Welcome, Michelle Swann.
Thank you, Andrew. It's lovely to be here.
It's so great to have you here. Hydra, that's on a Greek island. It's a couple who are going off and discovering art and love and all sorts of things. Can you tell us a little bit about the project?
Well, it's a fascinating play, and it's actually an Australian play written by Sue Smith, who is famous for co-writing the Brides of Christ miniseries. You might remember that?
In the 1990s on ABC, if memory serves.
Yeah, it was a great series.
Yep, long time ago.
Yeah.
More than a lifetime ago for some of our viewers, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So careful to make references that are too old. But anyway, she's a very talented writer, and she's written this play, which focuses on the relationship between George Johnston and Charmian Clift. And they met, fell in love, and moved to firstly to London, then moved to Greece, and lived first on Klimnos, and then after that, and basically made a life there with their 3 children and wrote lots of books. And George Johnston wrote his famous book, My Brother Jack, whilst they were living on the island. And Charmian was a wonderful writer in her own right, but didn't enjoy the same success as George. So that's addressed in the play as well. So, yeah, it's a great project. I've been interested in George Johnston and Charmian Clift for many decades now. I first read My Brother Jack when I was at school, which is a long time ago now, and have read their works, many of their works and their biographies, and was very fascinated by the life that they chose to live, and accidentally picked up this copy of this play in readings, of all places, and gasped a lot and bought it, devoured it very quickly, and thought, I've just got to do this. I've got to direct this play. So, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. So it's great. So
you were in Readings bookshop, just browsing the shelves, and this sort of literally sort of jumped out at you and resonated with you straight away.
Yeah,
wow!
I saw the.
Because I always love talking to creatives about what it is that attracted them to a project. But this is as random can be. That's awesome.
Yes, well, it was performed professionally in Queensland, but I had no idea. I didn't know of its existence until I was in readings and picked up the copy of the play.
So is this the first time, to the best of your knowledge, it's been done in Melbourne?
Yeah, in Victoria, yeah.
That's very cool. And what do you think it is about the smaller suburban local theatre companies that just really, they stood the test of time? I mean, some of them have been going 50, 60, 70, 80 years.
Well, I think, people do like local. So if you don't have to travel too far to get to see something, it's relatively inexpensive compared to going to see a professional show. This is your only opportunity to see it at the moment, and I wouldn't imagine too many people went all the way to Queensland to see it. So, and even knew about it because I didn't see it advertised down here. So, being able to do shows like this is really important because it gives them an opportunity to get to be produced elsewhere. It was interesting when we applied for the rights. We had to apply directly to Sue Smith for the rights. She gave them to us in 2 days. So that's a pretty amazing turnaround. So I thought that told me she was pretty keen.
And for those that aren't aware, rights usually go through one of the big 2 or 3 rights agencies, and they have to end up going to New York or London or wherever the rights owner's offices or management is based, and it can take weeks or sometimes months to get the approval through. So to be able to flick someone an email and get it so quickly, that's fantastic.
You don't always get the rights either. Some playwrights don't actually like amateur performers to perform their works, so I was a little bit nervous about that because it's such a new play. I thought Sue might not be so keen, but to get it approved in 2 days meant that she was just happy to see the show being done, which is great. It's
fantastic. It's always great to see. It's great to see Aussie works on stage, and it's especially great to see brand new Aussie works on local stages, isn't it?
Yeah, this was only first performed in 2019, so it's pretty relatively new. And obviously we had the pandemic in between that, so there wasn't much being produced, for a couple of years there. So Yeah, it is really exciting. And with this play, it's really an interesting juxtapositioning of the Greek culture and the Australian culture coming together. Because there's a lot of the Greek culture, but also Sue brings in the Australian culture into the play with lots of, older songs and just, references to Australia and Melbourne. And yeah, so it's a really interesting piece from that perspective as well.
And it's quite a tight play. It's a cast of 6, is that right?
Yes, but there's a few roles. One of my cast members is playing several roles, which he's very good at. He's got a long history of being able to do that, so it's exciting for him. Keep him on his toes. Yeah.
Greek culture is obviously, as you'd know, a big part of Melbourne culture.
Right.
I think if I'm right, we have in Melbourne the biggest Greek population outside of Athens in the world.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. I don't think that's changed. It's been like that for a while, so yeah.
And given that we have such a large Greek population, I think I need to apologise. I've been calling this play Hydra for quite a while now. How should I be pronouncing
it?
Ethra. So absolutely nothing like Hydra.
Nothing like Hydra, no.
No. But now I know, and now we all know.
And in the play, Sue makes a reference to that because there's a line about we have to teach the Yanks how to say, instead of saying it's Hydra, it's Ethra. So
yeah, see, I knew that, so I was helping you. No, I just was getting it wrong. Just getting it wrong.
That's understandable because you get no clues from the English spelling. It doesn't give you anything. So.
Have you worked with Brighton Theatre Company before?
That's my first time. Yeah.
And was it a difficult process for you to pitch the show to them, given that it's a work that hasn't been done in Victoria before?
No, it wasn't actually. So the process, and this is the same with many theatre companies, is once they lock you in to direct for them for a season, they'll ask you for 3 plays for their consideration. They have a play reading committee, and they all liked this play the best, and they loved it. So we talked about how we could do it on their stage, and that was it. It was as easy as that. As I say, they sent off for the performance rights and got the reply in 2 days, so we were able to just get on with it really quickly because there weren't any barriers to putting it on. So.
And it's the second of 4 plays that Brighton Theatre Company are producing this year. There's also Admissions in August and The Kitchen Sink in November. But this particular production opens on the 17th of May, and it's a relatively short season. There's not a lot of time to hesitate. So if people are planning to come, now's the time to book tickets.
Well, exactly. Get on it. That's right. Because it'll be here before you know it, and it'll be over before it's begun. Yes.
And how do people get tickets, Michelle?
If you just go to the Brighton Theatre Company website, you can just book your tickets through the website.
So that's brightontheatre.com.au. And Brighton Theatre is on the corner of Wilson and Carpenter Streets in, funnily enough, the suburb of Brighton in Bayside, Melbourne. Yeah. Michelle, thank you so much for joining me, and all the very best for the season.
Thank you very much, Andrew.